sun, you can feel the heat warm. When the pressures rise, building up inside, trying to break it down. But you come back stronger, ready to fight. Can't wait any longer. It's our time. It's like a force of nature. No stopping now. It's the stars that make it. Stronger than that. It's like a force of nature. No stopping now. It's the stars that make it. Stronger than that. Stronger than that.
Ethan Burrell going big, spin by the 50-60s. It won't be enough. Chris Record on the back of Johnny Johnson, who covered the spot. Johnny, it's going to victory at the corner, scores the win. The home place beer completely beat by
It's like a force of nature. No stopping now. It's the stars that make it. Stronger than that. It's like a force of nature. No stopping now. It's the stars that make it. Stronger than that. Stronger than that.
Welcome, race fans. It is Wednesday night, so glad you could join us here on the Elite Racing Network for another installment of today's action here for the JoinAPS.com Cup Series here. The ready break at the Glen. This time we are turning right and left here tonight, hopefully with a lot less yellow flags than what we saw last week. Although, as I was just talking with you guys in the booth here, I'm joined here by Sam. Rich has the night off. Sam, this is a complete new animal for these guys on this next-gen car there. We can expect perhaps some spins, but not a lot in as far as yellow flags, because this race is a road course, and we won't traditionally see long, or what I call overall course cautions here tonight.
Yeah, we're not going to be expecting that many. There is going to be at least one official caution. That is going to be a full course yellow expected at the end of lap 15, but that's the only time we're truly expecting it. Now, if there is a large jam going through the S's, or there's a multi-car accident that comes around when we start the race and coming off the restart of what we're calling now the fun caution at the end of lap 15, then we could see another full course yellow. We're not expecting it though, as these racers can we're expecting them to keep it clean and green, but they're racing in the next gen car, like you said there, Alex, and as well on the new Watkins Glen. There was a new rescan where the drivers have a little bit more off axis asphalt to work with themselves to try to save the car if they go off the track. So they got a little bit more of a taste, as well as the rumble strips, a lot more forgiving than the old scan that there was. So the drivers, they feel like there's a lot better of a chance to get back out there on track and run well, but it's extremely hot for these drivers. That's going to be a factor for us to touch on. And as well, we've got some drivers that are very quick at road courses showing up, such as R.C. Enerson and a couple of other drivers that are looking to try to take Watkins Glen away.
A new scan and also a new car. I know we had this car here for last season here, but there's something to be said about going from that traditional H pattern that we saw with the old car and this new style pattern in the car with a 5-star sequential shifter. These shifting points are quite different here this time around.
Yeah, 5 gears that you're going through. So for some drivers, they used to, when it was only 4, they would stay around, second gear was their comfort gear to drop down to. Now it's second. Some drivers feel like they can drop down to first, but it's second and third gear where drivers are going to be trying to get a good acceleration out of these corners when they really slow down in the entries of turn 1, as well going through the entries of turns 7 and 8. Those are going to be some hard points for drivers to watch out for. But qualifying's almost done here. Alex, we got 3 minutes left to go.
Yes, and you can see right to the left of your screen. Oh, it just went away. We'll take a look at the championship standings here instead. Looks like Matthew Weeks, fresh off that win from 2 weeks ago, title voting. Chad Thornquist, your top 3. Those guys putting in some great work here early for the 22 season A. Just below that, our Daytona 500 champion there, Nick Massey and Jacob Adams, still looking for that first win in the Elite Racing Network here.
And as
A
well.
couple of guys that we're going to be keeping an eye on as we take a look. I'm sorry there, Sam. Didn't mean to cut you off there. Actually, I'd just like to know, who are you keeping an eye on in this race here?
Well, the driver I've got my eye on has to be David Tooker, who is one of the drivers that is led at every single Watkins Glen race that there has been, from all the way back in the 2019 to 2020 season. He's been the fastest during practice and currently during qualifying. But looking at the points, just want to give note, the drivers that are in white, they are drivers that have already won this season, but there is no you win and you're in system for these drivers, just to give us a little bit of a note on who's been the fast driver so far this season.
Yes, and you can take a look. There are really only two drivers, if that were to be a win in your end season, have tasted victory lane inside this top 20 right now. Still a long way to go. Tate Lytle, our defending series champion there. You see him in 20. It's kind of a slow start. I mentioned his name there, Sam, because you were able to look up this information, or excuse me, David was able to look up just moments ago. The last time we saw or went to a road course, and Tate Lytle was at Sonoma partying in Victory Lane.
Yeah, found his way to victory lane was Tate Lytle, which Sonoma and Watkins Glen, two extremely different road courses to be handling. Sonoma's a lot more of a technical, just a lot more slowing down. Verticality is also a factor at Sonoma. Here at Watkins Glen, this is kind of, with how fast that they're going to be driving, this is like a more traditional, just go as fast as you can road course. You got the S's, the backstretch, going into the bus stop. There's not many places where you're truly slowing down to get through these corners, except for the final two, and also at that turn one where the driver's going to be hard on the brakes. And these brakes, Alex, they're bigger, but they are very difficult to slow down on these cars. Very easy to lock up, and that's going to be something to watch as well.
Yeah, we're guaranteed at least one restart. We know after the fun caution on lap 15 there, but heading into turn number 1, that is going to be a place where we're going to be keeping an eye on all race long here. Very easy to wheel hop and get yourself in trouble there and perhaps put some damage on that race car.
Yeah, do not want to get any damage. There is no fast repairs for these drivers. So if you get any damage, you're going to have to come into pit road to get it repaired or just deal with it out on track. And then, well, on top of that, 3 extra sets of tires in pit road for tonight's event.
So qualifying coming to an end. David Tooker for Pro Edge Racing looks like he will be starting tonight on the front row. Right beside him will be RC Anderson there, doing a great job there. Second, if you take a look at the rest of the top 10, good for Chad Frankenfield here. Wasn't so long ago the power went out in his home. Glad to see he was able to overcome that and get a great qualifying effort. Because of that, he'll be starting in third. Ethan Burrell to his inside as well.
Yeah, Chad Frankenfield, he actually won the very first Watkins Glen race that was ran for that of the JoinAPS Cup Series. So excited to see what Chad's going to be bringing in speed. We've also seen David Tooker win the second time these drivers were here, but the last current driver to win was Colin Fern. As we continue to look at the rest of the board, Nick Massey as well as Tom Born-Shantarian, those drivers are trying to get a better run for themselves. As we look at this field, Alex. You also got Tyler Fody, Scott Crump. Those drivers that have been fast at road courses, not the best qualifying, but the drivers are just trying to get a rebound after last week's just fiasco at Michigan, where it was just a caution-filled race. This is a good opportunity to minimize your incidences and try to just focus on racing the track.
Yeah, you have 7 turns here tonight that we're going to be described for you. That's 7 opportunities for you to really mess up. And I believe this is one of the greatest racetracks we go to on the circuit. It's also one of the most difficult racetracks that we will go in throughout. If you take a look at the rest of the starting order, take a look at 35th place there. Matthew Weeks, that is our point leader there, not having a great qualifying run. I don't believe he actually qualified at all, so he'll be starting in the rear.
Yeah, drivers that decided not to qualify was going to be all the way back in that of 34th position, where Gerald Campbell is going to be starting. All those drivers further back decided not to put down a time, which for some that could be a strategy call. Again, we have that fun caution that's going to be coming out, so the drivers are going to have 15 laps to play with to figure out, okay, do I want to be aggressive on these tires? How patient do I want to be? And how many drivers are going to be out of this race just in the first 15 laps? Because this first 2 to 3 laps, you got the tires trying to get up to really a good heat to be tackling these corners. On top of being so close with one another and jam-packed, one wreck up front could completely scatter through everyone else.
And something I also want to talk about there, Sam, as we get one and only pace lap underway before tonight's event, is the opening for strategy here. Watkins Glen is one of those racetracks where you can pit and not go a lap down. And I always like those type of racetracks because that really does open up the chance for somebody to perhaps gamble. Why not? We know we have a caution coming on lap 15. Why not go ahead and pit early, get yourself some good track position when we go back racing?
Yeah, pit on lap 13 will be one of the last opportunities for these drivers to come into pit road before pit road closes. So you're going to be, if we're going to be seeing anyone go with strategy calls, most likely it's going to be someone in the top, that of the 15, top 10. Might see some drivers that are saying, hey, I'm a little bit too far, not close enough to where I want to be. I'm going to falter back. I'm going to just come into pit road, take my tires, fuel, and make sure that whenever that fun caution comes out, I'll have the best track position when we go green again.
So you can see through the bus stop there, one of the important braking zones that you're going to try and outbrake one of your competitors there late in that one. It's also one of the high contact areas of the racetrack in this long carousel right here. Turn number 6. Or excuse me, actually turn 5 there. They've renumbered this racetrack. It went from 11 to 7. I've seen 14 if you had the boot. So we're gonna go with what NASCAR actually has, which is 7 corners here tonight. So that is now the renamed turn 5 there before they head to turn 6 and 7 to complete this road course here. But the time now to shake out everything, make sure everything's going okay is right now, because once that pace car heads on from this turn, it is on. The Ready Break 200 here at Watkins Glen. Again, so glad you could join us. This is the first road course of the season. And we're hoping for some great action to see who can navigate these turns, both left and right. Pace car is in. The green flag is out. David Tooker on the gas. We are racing at Watkins Glen.
David Tooker, great launch for himself, and that's the positive of being able to get the pole position, is you can launch right when the pace car pulls in. A great launch through everyone. Everyone survives through turn 1, but up through the S's. This is when you're getting up to speed, and also a place you got to be careful with how hot and slick the track is. You can slip up very easily into the backstretch. Alex, where the draft is going to be so important.
Yes, we will be talking about the draft here. This is now the highest section as far as speed goes for this racetrack there, 180 miles an hour before they make that hard right turn into the bus stop there. David Tooker navigating that expertly. He's been able to get out to a great lead there, about 5 car lengths in front of R.C. Anderson there, and trying to lead lap number 1 as he heads down into turn 6.
Turn 6, again, one of the few last opportunities if you're going to be trying to make a pass, but you got to be right on the back bumper if you want to make any type of movement. As the 19 looks clean, but a little bit of a shimmy. Those rumble strips, got to be careful out of the exit of turn 6, but on to the front stretch. It's all David Tooker for lap number 1.
Yes, he'll be able to complete that there and put a little bit of daylight between him and second place, but that battle for second place is heating up. R.C. Anderson has a mirror full of Chad Frankenfield right behind him. Chad trying to solidify that 3rd position. Now a little bit of a gap between the 50 and the 15. And just behind that, another Pro Edge Racing teammate there, Ethan Burrell, doing a great job in the 4th position. He's just ahead of Jared Rexing as they climb in the S's once again.
Ethan Burrell, a driver that needs to be having a good run here tonight, comes in tied 12th in points with that of Bronson Stafford and Johnny Thomas, trying to crack his way into up front and getting a better points day. 37 is doing just that right now.
Oh, you saw him hop over the rumble strips right there. You know, Sam, I actually had the chance to go over these rumble strips here in my personal car at the Corolla, but even at the whopping speed of 70 miles an hour, let me tell you, it really upset the car there. I can imagine handling this even virtually there at that type of speed. These guys have their hands full as they go over those rumble strips.
Yeah, the rumble strips, again, rescanned, allowing the drivers to really be able to drive over them. It doesn't unsettle as much as they used to in the old scan, where if you touched the rumble strips and drove over them, it was like it was launching your car either left or right, and you had zero control on where it was going to go. I love the fact that iRacing has given us the new rescanned Watkins Glen, and drivers have been waiting for this for years on a new scan. Once it finally came in a couple of months ago, drivers have been loving it, and that's why we're seeing these drivers really being able to attack and really find new spots on these rumble strips where they can maximize their speed. And David Tucker and RC Anderson showing us perfectly on how to run here at the Glen.
Yes, a lot of separation amongst the top 5 right now. Make it top 6 as we go to a Whiskey Cash replay. Taking a look here, this is entering or exiting, I believe, turn 7. Yes, it's Harrison Talon. Ooh, it's going to have an issue there. You see the rear of the car already knocked off, so he already had an incident before we saw this replay.
Yeah, Harrison Talon, he's been having issues, and this is another driver that I saw on our ticker drop very close, very quickly, was running up front, but Trevor Earlham going to get into that of Tom Bourne, and then going to have to just park it through the S's, and went from driving up in the top 15 to now all the way back to 42nd position.
But still has a race car that is quite the save right there from further damaging that race car right there, and he'll have what we call the fun caution in order to get caught back up. So he's down, but certainly not out, as we take you back to live pictures. David Tucker stretching out that lead in front of RC Anderson. It's about 2 seconds there as they head through the S's and onto the backstretch.
Yeah, going to be trying to stay up front racing as hard as possible, but we're going to take another look as Mark Ribble is going to be another one of the drivers. Again, we're going to be seeing a lot of replays here tonight. Whiskey Cat's going to get some good pictures as just overcorrection. Didn't want to throw it into the outside wall. Instead, somehow the rest of the field avoids the 96. But Alex, that is a scary moment for the drivers out of the carousel.
Yes, and the car that was just ahead of that got through that was our point leader, the 11 of Matthew Weeks, who was in the back of the pack because of that poor qualifying position there. He actually did not start one, and so he has to navigate throughout all these replays that we're seeing right here. Thankfully, he's been able to do so cleanly.
Yeah, I mean, this is your best time to gain in these first about 6 to 7 laps. This is the closest everyone's going to be. If there wasn't that fun caution that was coming out, that fun caution is going to be changing a big factor of this race. Just because, like we noted on there, Alex, the strategies that could be thrown out. Again, around lap 13 is going to be around 11 to 13 is when we're going to see a lot of drivers that are in the middle of the field potentially come into pit road to try to gain some track position at that fun caution. When drivers come to pit road to top off, get some fresh tires, you can stay out and get yourself some good runs.
To see if anybody that's in the top half of the field decides to do that. There is a little bit of a breakaway point there. You're going to need to make that decision and not go a lap down, because if you do go a lap down to the 19, who is setting a blistering pace so far, that strategy is null and void. You will not be able to stay on the lead lap there, as we see RC Anderson slide a little bit behind David Tucker right there. They've been able to stretch it out. We have a new 5th place car though. Thornquist there in the 02, doing a great job. I like that paint scheme.
Yeah, Chad Thornquist coming in with the clean scheme, going with the blue and black. And, you know, we see a lot of these drivers trying out different schemes throughout the weeks, and that's kind of the amazing things with iRacing and also with Trade-in Paints. These drivers can pick or make their own schemes to put on these cars, and that's why it's always a blast to see what they want to bring out. But Chad Thornquist up to that of 5th place, a driver that is trying to go with consistency right now, 3rd in points, and trying to go for his 2nd top 5 of the season.
Just behind him, we see Tate Lytle there, the 48 Nick Massey as well. See Tate Lytle, we mentioned that he is the last driver to win on a road course here for the JoinAPS.com Cup Series. However, he got that win. It was through very great work, having a flawless day there, but there were some issues there that allowed that 56 car, as we see, Hunter Smith there almost have an issue right there, but Tate Lytle was able to take advantage of some issues, I believe, that knocked out RC Anderson and David Tucker late in that one, and then take it to victory lane here. So that 56 car seems to always be around when others make mistakes. We'll see if it can happen here tonight.
I mean, that just reminds of the way that he won his championship the whole entire last season. I mean, it was always right place, right time, and that's how Tate Lytle found himself gaining a championship. But for Hunter Smith, just showing how in the bus stop you can seem like you're hitting your marks perfectly, but one just misstep. There's so many You have to enter the corner perfectly into the bus stop, and if you make one mistake, you find yourself through the grass. But these three drivers battling with one another, the 10 of Jared Rexing, Hunter Smith that we're hopping on board with, and Nick Massey riding behind. These drivers all trying to just stay in the top 10, and that's great track position to try to hold for themselves. And again, in this first 15 laps, this is all learning and knowledge that you're trying to take in. How is the tire wear going to react after these first 15 laps? Do you want to be extremely aggressive or patient on these tires? And also, how much ground, and what does my pace look like with the drivers that I'm around with me?
Hunter Smith doing an excellent job here inside the top 10. This is a driver that desperately needs a good run. Has been involved in a couple of incidents here throughout the last couple of weeks there. None of his fault, but he had a great qualifying position here today, trying to make the most of it here, running inside the top 10, doing an excellent job so far. The defending Daytona 500 Series champion right behind him.
Yeah, Nick Massey, Daytona 500 winner. But Hunter Smith, just a note on Hunter Smith. Best finish was during that Daytona race. Finished 7th. Since then, finished 20th at Pocono, then also finished 31st at Michigan. Comes in 18th in points. Luckily had that good start at Daytona, so there's still time to rebound. And I think that's what a lot of these drivers are taking in. It's still very early in this regular season. Only race number 4 of the 11 for the regular season, so you can still come back from this. But after these next 2 races, that's when it's crunch time, and you cannot have any mistakes. Otherwise, you might be missing out on the playoffs.
That's exactly right there, Sam. I believe the time is always now to be piling up those points. You don't want to find yourself in the later half of this season here needing to scramble. Right now, you need to be putting together good results, good top 10s. That's going to save you in case calamity. It typically does happen towards the end of the regular season here. You don't want to be one of those guys on the outside looking in or have to make a desperate move, because then your chances really go to 0.
Well, it helps that the desperate move at the end of the season will be Daytona to finish out the regular season, where anyone's going to have opportunity to win. As halfway through this part of our fun beginnings, as we take a look at drivers and their misfortune so far, as here's that of Cody Harrington, who's got to be, once again, that carousel, such a tricky spot. That was one of the spots that I was hearing over the radio during practice, where drivers just were finding a lack of grip at moments, and also turn 1. Those were the 2 tricky spots. As here's Bronson Stafford showing us how to exit of turn 1 can get tricky for the 61.
Yeah, we saw with that 66 cars as the background come around, and I think he gets on the gas there, and this one he's going to make significant contact into the inside safer barrier. Excuse me, Armco barrier, not safer barrier right there. He's going to have some damage here. And we take a look at the 08 of Mark Keeler. This is the highest speed section of the racetrack there. Entering the bus stop, you're taking a look from high above. What's going to happen if he makes that?
Just nick the grass. That was the issue. If you touch the grass, it can ruin it. And those guardrails, saw that a couple of times. You can get stuck in, and Keeler had to take a tow to pit road, which is costing major time. As we go back up and see what David Tooker's been up to, as he's still having over a 2nd gap lead over RC Henderson.
Doing a great job there, and as you and I were talking about just before starting this race, I do believe this 19 car has something to prove here tonight. We know he was very optimistic about his chances last week there. He was involved in an incident and was able to come up in the booth and talk with us there at Michigan. But I could just tell, knowing David for as long as I have, almost 10 years, road courses is something he kind of licks his chops at. He knows he's good at, has, real world experience doing this as well. If we're turning right or left, that 19 car is going to come with everything he can. And he's had some great cars, has been unable to really bring it on home. So I think tonight could be his night. It's early, but who knows?
Oh, it looks very good. As we take a look here at the 36, again, another tricky spot, turn 1, hard on the brakes, and we'll see if Kyle potentially just goes wide, it looks like. Just came in with too much speed.
Yeah.
And decides to lock it up, trying to not get in the wall, but does. And that's what I'm talking about with the brakes, is you have to have the right brake bias locked in, or you might be seeing yourself not having the best launch. As here comes Harrison Talon into the inside, and it's just not enough grip there.
Bites him again, almost the exact same thing. Are you sure this isn't, David, did you just take another replay from earlier?
No. I swear I didn't, Alex. I swear I didn't.
That's the same exact spin that we saw from that 23 car earlier.
Yeah, I mean, that go around, he just let the car drift. Instead of trying to overcorrect it, was like, all right, we're just going to spin it out and we'll see what happens. But already showing Watkins Glen, it is a handful for the majority of this field. And it's showing. I mean, I'm looking at some of the iRacing ratings. Drivers have the ability to race road course and also oval. When you come to these road courses, whenever you look at the information for these drivers, it gives for myself, I'm getting information on what their road iRating and classes are looking like throughout all their iRacing career. And for the majority of this field, they're not all putting the same amount of time into road courses like they do into ovals. Usually Watkins Glen, Sonoma, and sometimes going into Road America, there's some road course drivers that love road course racing, but some, they only race here maybe 2 to 4 times a year. So it is showing some drivers, they don't have that true experience, and tonight it is going to be a difficult long night for themselves.
And it is about, experience here. I mean, we used to talk about it. It's not often prominent now. If you take a look at Tim Bourne in that 16 car, but we used to talk about road course specialists. When we went to Watkins Glen and Sonoma in the Cup Series, you remember some names like Boris Said. He was one of those. Ron Fellows, another guy. These were the guys. They were road course specialists, and they specialized in road course, and that's because this type of racing is difficult in a stock car. It is not for everyone here, virtually or in the real world. So I could desperately see why some people love it and some people just hate it.
As we're watching the battling currently going on, Ethan Burrell as well as Chad Frankenfield battling for 3rd place position. Do want to give note, Alex, we were talking about strategies. Who was going to be making those calls? Looks like Nick Massey and that of Joshua Adams going to be the 2 drivers coming into pit road to get service done. They're going to be trying to go with that track position over at the freshest tires once this fun caution comes out here in the next 3 laps.
Taking a look at another Whiskey Cash replay. It's going to be Rusty Capel in that 9 car entering turn number 6. See what happens here. He's a little bit wide, perhaps, late on the gas or early on the brake.
And he got on the throttle too soon, and that rear end wanted to kick out immediately and hard into that guardrail. Going to be hurting as we go back up front. David Tucker as through the S's, he's got to be careful because RC is on that back bumper as we're coming to the end of this, coming to the end of what we call the fun caution. Alex, only the leader is going to be getting those chase bonus points.
Yes, and RC Anderson's been able to track down. This is the closest we've seen the front 2 since the start of the race. You're right on board with the 50 car there, taking a look at the back end of that Toyota Camry, which is so close. See what happens here as they navigate up the carousel. A couple of slow cars up ahead that perhaps could also play a factor. Where you catch lap traffic is always a storyline here in this series. I always catch my breath when we have lap traffic ahead, and it could play a factor here for these final 2 laps. We'll have 2 of them. It's the caution is going to come at the end of lap 15. So pit road is going to be closed right here. None of these leaders decide to take advantage. That means Nick Massey, and I believe, I forgot the other name that you mentioned there, Sam, but those guys.
Yeah, it was Joshua Adams, as well as coming in that previous lap, going to be Joshua Clark, Scott Crump coming into pit road to get service done. But I think Crump came in to get repairs as there's heavy damage as pit road is officially closed.
Through the S's here, RC Anderson wonder if the handling's beginning to go away on that 19 car. He's been able to maintain the gap. And the 19 still in front of the 50 by about 5 car lengths there. But as they enter through the bus stop, Joshua Clark is going to be a teammate to the 19 car. But RC Anderson, wow, he made up a lot of time right there on the exit of turn number 4. Now gets right up there through the carousel. That car entering the corner there, just able to bite way better than the 19. And now that 5 car length lead has dwindled down to all but 2, if not 1, as they enter turn 6.
The goal, though, you got to get a good run out of turn 6 and 7 to set up that turn 1 entry. You got the front stretch, some draft to be working with, but the draft in tow is also going to be assisted to that of Tucker. He's got lap traffic ahead, so RC's not going to be getting the full advantage of having the draft, but here they come down into turn number 1.
Yes, this is going to be for the final lap before that stage break there, and again, only the leader will be able to earn some points. So this is a very important battle there with lap traffic also entering the mix, and I believe that 19 car could catch them before the end of this lap. They navigate through the S's okay here, down to the fastest section of the speedway here. Almost 180 miles an hour lap traffic going to give. RC Anderson, who is so good through this section, can he do so once again, applying the pressure?
Not as good. A little bit of a bobble out of the exit of the bus stop. Now into the carousel, but the carousel saw the 19 a little bit higher through the apex.
Oh!
Going to be giving the RC a good chance here coming out down and oh boy.
A car turns over right in front of the leaders right there. They're able to navigate through that. That's what I saw in my eyesight there. Someone had trouble lap traffic, trying not to factor to the end of this stage finish. RC Anderson, one final corner. Can he send it in and get to the back bumper of the 19? No. David Tooker from lap number 1 to 15 as the yellow comes out officially. David Tooker scores the stage caution break in points here as we fall under caution for the first time tonight.
Went backs, and here we're going to take a look at it. Dustin Doerr going to be the driver that goes flipping. This is the incident that Alex and I both freaking out as the 32 is going to get loose, just lets it drift into the guardrail and goes flipping right in front of our leaders.
Yes, I'm telling you, that's exactly why I said lap traffic and holding your breath here, because you never know. And it typically happens in front of the leader. Look at the 32. We're on board. He just gets loose coming out of the carousel there. Car bites, and then it's into that Armco barrier, and I mean, it turns over. Hellacious hit there for the 32.
The guardrails out here for the Glen have been ruthless. They've been snatching drivers up. You touch it, you're not going away, or you're going to be tossed like a tosser. And just like that, we are under a stage break. And, noting on that, Alex, the reason why drivers, there's always incidences in front of our leaders. Well, the drivers usually, when they're a lap down, like we saw there, Dustin Doerr was focusing on battling for position on top of noticing in his mirror the leaders were coming. Those are two major factors that can cause drivers to get nervous and sometimes miss their marks and cause them to make mistakes in front of our leaders. And whenever your leaders are coming up to lap traffic, they hope for the courteous of drivers just getting out of the way. But you never know when something bad could happen there. And luckily the drivers, not for Dustin Doerr, his race looks to be done. But for our leaders, they're going to be good to keep on racing.
Good to keep on racing and about to be hitting pit road here. So you take a look throughout the top 10 there. I'd like to give a shout out to Pro Edge Racing. They have 3 cars inside the top 5 right now. Tate Lytle, Ethan Burrell, as well as David Tooker. Some of these guys just outside of it. You see Jacob Adams there. That's a pretty good, clean machine. Jesse Rasmus there in that 70 car as pit road is open, and it's about to be a very busy place.
As we're going to be taking here, going to be seeing all the drivers coming into pit road, except for a few. Again, Nick Massey and Joshua Adams both had already pit, as well as Joshua Clark. Those are the drivers that are expecting to just stay out on track. It looks like that of Adams and also Nick Massey. They're taking it to the lead. They're going to have that track position, but they're going to be having themselves 4-lap older tires than the rest of the field. That's going to be a factor also to watch out on what the tire difference is going to be on top of raw pace. As we see drivers getting done, racing off. RC almost beating to the line, but David Tooker takes the lead out of pit road.
So the field gets lined back up on the backstretch. I want to give a shout out to our partner for tonight's race, the Ready Break at the Glen. Listen up, sports fans. The Ready Break podcast is your weekly home for the biggest news stories and hottest rumors that break the internet. Tune in live on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook every Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or download the Ready Break broadcast here today. Ready Break at the Glen. So glad you were on board for tonight's race. This should be a good one here. And a shout out to our title sponsors there. They want you to go ahead and give them a like there. Follow them on YouTube. Their podcasts, as I already mentioned, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And they are on Facebook as well. Nick Massey, he's going to be leading.
This is going to be an interesting one. Again, we actually going to have 3 drivers that decided to stay out. Nick Massey, Joshua Adams, and also Joshua Clark. Those are going to be the 3 drivers. They're going to be in the lead. Then you're going to be having yourselves looking to have, was thought going to have David Tooker going to be in that 4th place position, but it's RC Enerson currently in 4th.
Looking to see where the 19 actually is. Don't see him on the backstretch there. That's a
He's
storyline.
all the way back in 20th, and he is still going backwards. I'm wondering if he was given an EOL penalty. Didn't hear over the radio if he did, but he is continuously falling back. And Alex, he just went from winning out of pit road to all the way back to the end of the line. This is not where you want to be seeing this 19 machine get beat.
Yeah, that's very interesting there. Don't know. We'll have to have some type of confirmation as to why the 19 is being put in the back, but this is not going to help him at all. There was only about 40 laps to go here. Not a lot of time to make up these laps. He was putting in some fast pace, but R.C. Anderson was right there. That's not going to be able... that's not a winning strategy, obviously being put in the back, but don't know why the 19 was placed there.
Just trying to see if maybe he got a penalty for speeding off the exit. I'm not seeing a penalty that iRacing is giving, nor is there an official EOL penalty given to the 19. It's very odd to be seeing him go down, but we're going to have to see. Can David Tooker rebound from starting all the way in the back here in 27th position for David Tooker? And also want to give note, Harrison Talon, Bronson Stafford. Those are the two drivers that are officially DNF'd and out of this race and have called it a day.
And back to the Tooker story, though, it goes to so many of the road course races that we saw earlier last season. Had an issue there coming out of pit road, I believe at Sonoma there, and then had a wreck at Coda last season as well. So it's just what I thought was his day looked like his day, just not. But there is still 40 laps here, plus 40 laps here, and a green flag pit stop will have to be made. We'll see what happens here as the safety car rounds out of the carousel, and now we have a couple of guys on older tires to lead this field.
Yeah, it's going to be our front three are on the older tires. Nick Massey, Joshua Adams, and Joshua Clark. Those are your three drivers to watch out for. R.C. Anderson, he is now going to be in the catbird. See if he can get his way past these drivers. I don't think there's anyone else that really can beat the 50 that are up front currently.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. It's never over till it's over, though. You never know if a lap car could just come out of nowhere and spice things up. We'll see as we are about to get our first and perhaps only guaranteed restart of the night underway. Pace car going to duck onto pit road, allow the field in the hands of the 48 car. He started on the outside this time. The green flag is back out, lap 19 of 61 in the books.
And they didn't even take a corner. The 50 trying to take the lead. Contact between himself and Nick Massey.
Oh!
And RC so aggressive, and they're wrecking behind.
Yes, Chad Frankenfield involved in that, and the yellow flag is out. A lot of smoke there in turn number 1, placing us under caution immediately after going green.
Well, I threw it out there, Alex. The opportunity of another yellow was certainly there on the start of the race and on this restart. You got so many drivers on top of one another that now we're going to be seeing our first official on-track yellow going to be thrown. As take a look at the replay on what brought out this yellow.
So we saw the 48 car. Oh, he's got to get hit by R.C. Anderson. Yes, they both go out, but behind them, Jeff Green gets tagged by the 64 of Andrew Rucker. See, the 6 car have to avoid him, and just ahead of him, we saw the 15 of Chad Frankenfield also with an issue. R.C. Anderson there looks like he almost makes that corner, but he does nudge the 48 car out of the way. Oh, Tate Lytle is going to turn Chad around here. Hunter Smith barely gets around that. Tyler Fody and the 16 of Tim Bourne. Oh my goodness. Most of the field somehow navigating away from that spinning 15 car.
Yeah, and because Chad Frankenfield was blocking the majority of the racing surface, yellow was thrown. But that certainly was a nerve-wracking spot. There were more drivers that were also just having issues. I mean, you have Jeff Green getting himself straightened away, and it was just one of those incidences where you're expecting the field to maybe play nice, but this is the closest you're going to be to the potential of this being the last restart. You got to be aggressive, and we saw the aggression overtake and yellow being thrown.
Yes, So I'd like to go back and perhaps we have the ability to go back and take a look at the replay of the 50 car of R.C. Anderson, because he made up 4 spots, not in corner there, but just in feet. Wow.
Yeah, he
just
waited.
outbraked him.
He waited for the perfect time to get that restart and then cut it in between that of the 95 and as well that of Nick Massey. And you're going to see it here on the restart. Just got the perfect restart, found himself clear, drops down, tries to get aggressive, and just locks up the brakes. And that little lockup and hitting the rumble strips got the 50 out of control, makes contact, and away they go. And it's Adams, when the yellow flies now, who's going to have the lead going on this next restart.
I don't know if there's much damage to the side of the 48 car right there, but thankfully that was not a bigger issue involving our leaders. But yeah, the 48 car took off, and it looked like both the 95, and I couldn't tell who that was just right in front of him. They just stumbled on that inside line. It was an interesting 9 for the 48 car to take the outside, because that put him, it allowed that 50 car right on his back bumper. We knew he was going to be charging hard on those newer tires.
Yeah, it was one of those things where it might have been better to try to do a delayed restart and wait for the inside lane to kind of go when you did. Just poke your nose a little bit further ahead going into the corner, so you didn't give RC that opening of being able to just drop down low. I think also for that of Nick Matz, he was expecting RC Anderson to have a little bit more of a delayed restart, but hey, it worked out for the 50 to go. He's now up to second, but this is when it's going to matter the most, because on this restart, RC's no longer following the leader. He's got to wait until that 95 takes off.
So our second caution of the night is out. Gives us some time to go ahead and thank our premier partners. We can't do anything without their support. I want to give a shout out there to C2 Freight. C2 Freight offers complete freight management services. They are ready to meet your needs today as well as your changing needs in the future. Thousands of qualified carriers in their database. They're capable of handling every type of shipping for every type of goods, from perishable foods to office equipment. Whatever you need, they have access to necessary equipment for all to carry it out. They also offer electronic data interchange services as well. So thanks again to C2 Freight, and be sure to check them out for all your small business needs. We also want to thank Blue Egg Market. They are the marketing department for small businesses. They are able to help businesses punch above their weight class. If you're looking for something perhaps to help your business there, be sure to check them out. And then of course, Response Energy, they are an amazing partner with us, and they have a great drink for you guys that can be found in numerous stores there, so check them out there as well.
Oh boy, Alex. Well, it's time to see how these drivers are going to react on this restart. We saw them be very aggressive, thinking that last go was their last opportunity to try to make any daring moves. I think this time we might see even more aggression be thrown out as we're getting close to halfway. We're going to be even closer to potentially drivers making it. If we get to, I believe if we get to 28 to that of 25 laps in, they can make it on fuel. So the drivers are inching closer and closer. If another yellow comes out, and the drivers might think, hey, we might be able to stretch the fuel to make it if we come back into pit road.
Yeah, interesting to see. I don't know if any drivers actually topped off there in the back of the pack there, perhaps trying to set themselves up for a shorter pit stop later on. But yeah, strategy here, once we get around the 25 lap to go, that window does open up for the making it to the end. Were we actually able to, David, I just want to talk to you directly there, were we ever able to hear anything about the 19 and his troubles there for David Tooker?
I haven't heard anything at all.
But yeah, so there was nothing being said there on race control. Just a very interesting dilemma right there.
Yeah, and I was also starting to hear some of the drivers. It just seems like it was just a fluke incident on iRacing that pushed the 19 back. And so drivers were all over the radio, confused on why Tooker, and they all feel bad for him, but gonna have to follow the iRacing rules. We weren't given the official reasoning on why. Very odd, but David Tooker now gonna be doing a restart back in 26th position when he was and did win that fun caution.
Oh, don't know what we like about conspiracy theories right there, but that is definitely one I would be contesting there.
Yeah, I don't think he was gonna consider that a fun caution.
No, in our ear here, that was not a fun caution there for the 19 after doing everything he could. At least he's able to come away with some points out of that last lap battle. But the pace car about to duck back onto pit road right here, so we're going to try this again, take number 2. As we take a look, there is the 95. He is the control car. The 50 car has to wait until he gets on the gas. He does so. RC Anderson this time is going to try and take it on the outside. They're side by side as they enter into turn 1, a heavy braking zone. It was trouble last time, and he gets turned. RC Anderson in front of the field. He's off the racing surface, but the 50 car, the second most dominant car of the night, is around in turn 1. We stay under the green flag this time around.
And it was off the bumper of Nick Massey. Massey getting his revenge and a little bit more aggression than I think expected as we take a Whiskey Cast replay of this. The 48 right on the back bumper into turn number 1 and just loops the 50 around.
Yes, was that payback? Don't often talk about that on a road course there, but the 48 car does, and RC Anderson loops it around. This time it's off the racing surface, so, and everybody's able to get around by, so iRacing Control not going to call that or consider that a yellow flag. Anderson's job just got a lot tougher. Meanwhile, whoa, the 89 car slams into the Armco barrier, and here is Jacob Adams in the 25 going for a spin through the bus stop.
Adams was trying to top off with fuel and was one of the drivers that put himself back in trouble, and that's the type of trouble you're trying to avoid as drivers going around. But this is also another couple of drivers had issues. Nick Massey, who we saw wipe out the 50 coming out of the bus stop, also had issues for himself.
And RC Anderson, as we see Jared Rexon go wide in turn 1, there's action all over the racetrack. Nick Massey, who punted the the 50 car, loops it as well. And just before or after that, considering how you're keeping score there, we saw the 50 car RC Anderson in that wreck beforehand also have to navigate around that. He may have actually made contact with a spinning 25 car.
And all the drivers starting to feel that pressure. It is go time. And I think a lot of them are recognizing that this is the closest you're going to be. We let this race go on any longer, you might be too split up and too much of a gap to even gain on people. But a driver that's loving the gap, it's Ethan Burrell over that of a second and a half ahead. They're 3 wide going down into turn number 6 for that at second place.
Yes, they are. Ethan Burrell better not look in his rearview mirror because it is downright ugly. Tate Lytle able to get in front of Chad Thornquist right there, but the rest of the field trying to devour these two up front. You see the 28 car, Joshua Clark, one of those drivers that was actually able to use strategy to his advantage there. He's now been able to be inside the top 5, and Hunter Smith right behind him.
Yeah, that's a big thing. The advantage of trying to take those extra tires for Clark and Adams, but they're in a slight disadvantage now moving forward. They've got to be careful they don't lose too much ground as they're on those older tires, but Chad Thornquist, he's now trying to get onto trying to find a little bit of extra speed. But Ethan Burrell, this is falling into his lap. A perfect scenario of being up front, a large gap. As we take another look at some of the other incidences going further on back end for RC Anderson and others, this is difficult further back.
Yeah, the damage that I saw him get there on the right side of the car, looks like he's actually going to go down pit road. This might be a strategy call.
Oh, I think he was forced into pit road, went over and looked. He is acquired damage. He had to come into pit road and get these repairs, or he could have been disqualified from the race.
Wow. It went from bad to worse to considerably worse for the 50 car, all in a span of 2 laps.
Oh, man, he went from feeling good and confident. I mean, David Tooker was nowhere to be found. He was one of the fastest drivers up front. Ethan Burrell was his only competition. And just like that, in a blink of an eye, drivers that had beef of Nick Massey and RC Anderson, they're both wiped out of this thing. They're not even up in the top 15. Both of them are outside looking in. And we take a look here where David Tooker lies. Hey, Tooker is running quite well. He's done a great job from that of 26th up to now 10th and battling for 9th place.
Yes, getting around his Pro Edge Racing teammate there, Matthew Weeks in the 11 car, who also has had a great night there so far. He started deep in this field, both those cars coming to life here in the midsection of this race. Look at the 19 car trying to power through, and the gap he puts on the 11, already setting his sights on this next batch of traffic there. That's Hunter Smith, I believe, or excuse me, no, Tyler Fode in the 40 car just ahead of him.
Going to be that of Tyler Fode, then Hunter Smith, Shane Terrian, Clark, Adams, Thornquist. Those it's going to be Adams, Clark, Terrian, Smith, and Fode that are really in this train of drivers, and it's Adams that's kind of being a driver that's blocking up this traffic, but it's a great opportunity for David Tooker because he can dive down low and try to make this pass.
As you saw to the right of your screen, R.C. Anderson still on pit road, 2 laps down now, so not going to be a factor toward the end of this one here tonight as the 19 car making another pass in turn 1, setting his sights now on Hunter Smith.
Going to be right on the back bumper of Hunter, that actually of Shane Terrian, and then Hunter Smith's ahead of that. There was a little bit of a transaction of passes that have been going on. As you can see, Hunter Smith getting on the brakes hard. Shane Terrian and as well Tooker got to get on the brakes and utilize the rumble strips going through the bus stop and now into that of the carousel.
Pro Edge Racing all equally represented inside the top 10 right now. Matthew Weeks holding that spot. Then you have Joshua Clark, Dave Tooker, Tate Lytle, and Ethan Burrell. These Toyotas have come to life. Can anybody deny this whole entire organization?
I mean, there's some that are going to be doing their best, but it's going to be difficult as we take a Whiskey Cast replay look at some other drivers that have continued to have issues here tonight. In the S's for Dallas Myhan, a struggling point for that of the 26. And here on this track, I noted on it, the heat might be a factor to watch out for. The ambient temperature is only 78 degrees, but the track temp, 108 is, oh boy, more drivers coming in late and going into the 26.
Yes, and he did make contact right there. That took off the front clip of the 26 car. Now we're going to ride on board, or look from high above the 87 of Richard Hines. Looks like he's able to navigate that part of the bus stop, but this is the part where he probably gets off the bus, and it's not going to end well. Oh! Hard into that tire barrier right there. I would imagine that is going to be an immediate tow.
And it looks like for that driver had to keep on going as it is a mayhem inside the drivers. David Tooker slashing and dashing. He's trying to find just any type of opening, and somehow this pack of drivers didn't wreck out of the bus stop when they should have, as you saw there when we came back to the live feed.
Yeah, I don't know why we're not saying yellow flag right now, because that was a madhouse. David Tooker doing all he can. Now, this is the part where, as a driver there, Sam, you know you have a good car. You have to navigate through the traffic. How hard is it to be patient inside this race car, knowing you can pass these guys?
I mean, you can't be patient. That's why we're seeing David Tooker try these very aggressive moves. We're coming closer and closer to halfway, and David Tooker, just by trying to move up from that of 10th up to 7th, has lost over 3 seconds on our leader of Ethan Burrell. So this is all go mode for David Tooker. He needs to be making this pass on Hunter Smith and Joshua Clark and Adams as quick as possible if he even wants an opportunity to go after Ethan Burrell. And also of note, R.C. Anderson, one of our favorites to win here tonight, officially out of the race.
Well, that is heartbreak for the 50 car there. Thought he would definitely be a contender. But what might be heartbreak for that 50 car could turn into a celebration for that 19 car, and that's definitely not something that we thought we'd be saying at the end of the fun caution here. Things have turned quickly in a matter of 15 laps.
It really has, and looking at this pack, this is where some of the closest action is, watching behind David Tooker for that at 10th place. Everywhere else, they're starting to space out a little bit more from each and one another. And Alex, with the timing of that yellow coming right back out of the restart from a front caution, drivers now are going to be in opportunities where they might want to think about when they want to come into pit road, because the opening is a little bit shorter. As here comes the pass to the inside, going to be that of David Tooker going for the move on that of Joshua Clark. But the timing of pit road could be drivers coming in slightly sooner, so they're not losing as much time on these tires.
That's exactly what I was thinking and wondering for David Tooker there, because the blistering pace he is setting there has got to be hurting the tires. We saw him actually begin to fade just a little bit to R.C. Anderson there before that fun caution came out on lap 15, as he is able to complete the pass right there and is up to 4th place. Ethan Burrell still about 3.5 seconds ahead of this battle.
Well, that was probably the best way that you can get by both those drivers. Got by the two that are on old tires, slowing down the rest of the field of Clark and Adams. And these are the three machines that's next on the list for David Tooker. And the gap right now, it's less than 7 seconds. David Tooker, even getting by the traffic that was in front of him on this lap, was able to gain almost that of a half a second on Ethan Burrell.
Yes, that is incredible there as we see Chad Thornquist there almost snip the wall exiting turn number 7. But the higher you climb in the running order, the harder it does to pass these guys up front. It's not going to be like what we saw there at the beginning of the top 10. These guys are up front for a reason here. It's going to get a little harder for Tooker, even with that good of a race car here. And as we reach halfway, time is running out. Jared Rexing, the first of our top 10 to go down pit road.
Yeah, Rexing going to be coming into pit road to get service done for the 10. Again, I was talking about that. The strategy of potentially coming in could force these drivers with that yellow come in sooner, get your tires, fuel, and try to do what we call an undercut. Be one of the first drivers coming to pit road, and you could, right when the pit window opens, come in, get those tires, and try to have an advantage and gain more on the drivers around you.
Now, I'm wondering, and this is the point where I know some of these guys, you can have sometimes spotters with you or other friends with you inside the race car, but I have to wonder, these guys are talking with teammates there. You don't want to show your whole hand, but if I'm the 37 or the 56 car, do I decide to come down pit road now? Do I force the hand of David Tooker there to come down with me and make sure that he's on the same tire strategy, because you already have the gap as far as holding the lead, as we take a look at the 6 car, Zach Evans here with an issue through the bus stop. But for those guys that are behind, I wonder if the leaders up front going down pit road early would draw everybody in.
Yeah, I don't think that we're expecting these drivers really to take too early of a pit stop for those that are up front. It makes sense for that of Rexing and others. They're back in 15th, in 20th position. They're not in a position where they feel like, okay, I'm going to go for, this is the race winning move. This is more of a net gain move. You're trying to just gain an extra 5-6 positions instead of staying out there and potentially losing those positions on, being on the same set of tires in the same stint. So that's why we're seeing these drivers trying something slightly different. But David Tooker, we're talking about winning strategies. He's doing a great job. He's now cut it down to only 6 seconds as we take a look at the battle and the gap between all the drivers. I mean, that is a big thing to keep your eyes on, is the fact that Tooker is closing in on Thornquist.
Yes, this takes me back to the Cup Series race. We see Thornquist actually be the first of our top 3 to go down pit road.
Wasn't expecting this from Thornquist, but we've been seeing a couple of other drivers come into pit road that are further back. This is a gutsy call from the 0-2, but I got to give credit to Thornquist. He was the fastest of all the drivers in the top 4 those last 3 laps. So he certainly has the speed, just trying to run a little bit faster, as right now our leaders running about almost that of 8/10 slower than their best times.
I like that strategy there, though, because if anything were to happen, say the yellow flag comes out, these guys are going to be forced to go down pit road. He has already made his bet. He's going to probably lay in it there. But if this thing goes green, I like that strategy call there, if it goes green.
Yeah, that's a big if. It should stay green, but there's going to have to be a giant wreck to just clogging up most of the track while our leaders are coming up to that wreck for a yellow to be thrown. Most likely there won't be a yellow. We'll stay green through all this action. But Ethan Burrell, Tate Lytle, they're closing in. Ethan Burrell had over a 1.5 second lead over Tate Lytle when all the calamity of David Tooker and Burrell and all those issues happened. Well, that gap, it's gone. Tate Lytle on the back bumper and challenging for the lead.
Yes, Pro Edge Racing teammates 1, 2, 3. And Tate Lytle wanting to remind everyone at home, not only is he the defending series champion there, he's also a defending series road course winner. Trying to go for 2 in a row. The JoinAPS.com Cup Series there. He's been able to work down his, his teammate, the 37 car. It's the closest we've seen as Ethan Burrell goes wide. He's going to enter in the grass. And now the 56 car is going to cut underneath through the carousel. These leaders are side by side. And I tell you, not only does the 56 car love this, that 19 is licking his chops. A mistake out of the 37 car is going to change the lead.
Yeah, Brent Jones was clogging up and defending and scaring these drivers, but they're going to be side by side into turn number 6. Still there is going to be Burrell. He needs to get the pass done now, as Tate Lytle's going to have the advantage in the next corner.
Yes, and it looks like Tate Lytle trying to lead the first lap here tonight for himself, and he will do so after that mistake. But just look at that, the 19 car able to clear. I don't even want, if I was the 56 or the 37, to know just how much time they gave up to that 19 car, because they have put him once again in clawing position in order to catch these guys up front. I am amazed by the blistering pace of the 19.
I mean, it's quick. It was just the side-by-side racing. As we take a look here at the speed differences for the last 5 laps, and you can tell there was a small ticking fashion going on, but the side-by-side hard battling, it has allowed David Tooker to close in on Burrell and as well onto Tate Lytle, and the battling for the lead's not over just yet. But Alex, at some point, yes, you're battling for the lead, but you're hurting your chances of holding off that 19 that is closing in lap after lap.
Yes, and let's not also forget here how these guys battling up front. We've already had some drivers make their green flag pit stop, including Thornquist, who would be the closest competitor to these guys. So we'll keep an eye on the O2 once these guys decide to go down pit road. This time by, looks like they will not.
As they continue to race on. Alex, I just want to give note, Chad Thornquist, he's driving through traffic, and that last lap put down the second fastest lap of the whole entire day, and he's running himself about a full second faster than David Tooker, Ethan Burrell, and even Tate Lytle.
Yes, he's back in the 18th position right there, but my goodness, that's something here where, you know, your focus as a driver is on what's in front of you there out your windshield, and as it should, you want to be running some good times, but that's where your crew chief or your spotter's telling you, like, hey, these guys are making significant time. I don't know if that's necessarily on the minds of these guys right here, and that could be a winning factor. It's just something to keep an eye on, and we will be up in the booth here because that O2 is blazingly fast right now.
He is on the move again. 18th place is Chad Thornquist. This is the battling for the lead. Tate Lytle, Ethan Burrell. And they got to be careful and make sure they don't get themselves into any issues. But that 56, not a great run out of the carousel. And here comes that of Ethan Burrell, thinking about poking the nose down below the 56.
Yes, had a bobble right there in the middle of turn 5. He was able to gather it up, but that definitely hurt his chances once again of trying to put any type of distance in front. And now you see the 37 also wiggling out of the corner. So we know tire wear is beginning to really show themselves right now.
Here's another update on where the drivers and speed difference is. That is almost a full second, that lap, and it just continues to trickle away. David Tooker, what a charge, was all the way back in that of 28th position when we were coming off the restart. And now going to be finding himself climbing up to 3rd place, and now 2.5 seconds away from a battle for the lead.
Yes, you know, again, I had spoken before how this takes me back to the last cup race here with Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott.
Oh, and yellow flag waves. There's a big calamity, and admins are deciding to throw a yellow.
So another yellow flag to change the complexion of this race. It's going to involve the 31 of Gerald Campbell. And who is that?
Believe that's going to be Scott Crump.
Yes, massive hit on the backstretch. Yellow flag is out here only for the 3rd time today.
Oh boy.
I'm telling you, did not want to see that with Chad Thornquist. He had been making up an amazing amount of time. I believe he has to pit right here now in order to stay competitive, but he has lost a lot of track position. Scott hating the 3 car, nailing the outside wall before coming across the track and nailing the inside wall.
Yeah, and over the radio, heard from race control, it was because Scott Crump was facing the wrong direction, and as well the 31 of Gerald Campbell, because they were facing the wrong direction and they were trying to get back going and were clogging up majority of the racing surface, the yellow had to be thrown to make sure that all the drivers were okay. But Gerald Campbell, with how hard that wreck was, he's going to be calling it a day for the 31 machine.
Yeah, that's just unfortunate. And yet another issue for one of our series champions there. It has just not been Gerald Campbell's year. I believe he's had an issue in every race we've run so far. Tumbled heavily on the backstretch last week. And now, a big hit between turns 5 and 6 there on the straightaway there.
Yeah, Gerald Campbell, previous champion in the Cup Series. He has not had the year that he's wanted. Finished 31st at that of Daytona, 26th at that of Pocono. His best finish this season, though, was last week at that of Michigan for 14 laps. As you see some of the upcoming events that are all on here on the Elite Racing Network, you've got so many different styles. You've got Xfinities there in the Grand Nationals. You saw Indy cars. You got trucks in F1. It's a whole much racing action coverage here on the Elite Racing Network. And Alex, it's always a pleasure to be here on Wednesday nights watching the Cup drivers.
Oh, yes. It's Wednesday. It's a can't miss night. I'm always here. I do get paid, but I'm not paid to say that. I love being here right there. So I think this series brings out some of the best in all of esport racing here. We've drawn in some big talent, some big names here. You just never know what to expect, including this yellow flag here with 24 laps to go.
24 laps to go, and again, Tate Lytle, Ethan Burrell, this is going to be a big moment for these drivers. Pit road is going to be busy, and who can get out of their box without making a mistake and get back out up front the quickest? This is going to be a big moment for these drivers because you don't know if there's going to be another yellow thrown out.
Yes, and the restart is also going to be something that we're going to keep an eye on. Hopefully whatever happened to the 19 does not happen once again. If it was indeed a speeding penalty there, exiting as he tried to beat R.C. Anderson there.
And Alex, as we're watching the 19 come into pit box, went too far.
Just a little bit. That's not going to cost him a lot, but it will cost him as far as trying to get out there first.
Oh, and he's trying to get back out in a drag race, and it goes to 37. Burrell beating out Tate Lytle.
19's going to lose 2 spots there. That just puts him in harm's way.
Alex,
in case anything
Pat
happens.
Thornquist did not come to pit road. He stayed out. Same for that of Joshua Adams. Both drivers that decided to stay out, putting Burrell, Tate Lytle, Weeks, Fody, and Zucker all back 2 positions.
Ooh. I mean, I like that call if it weren't so many laps to go, but what we saw with new tires and him already setting a blistering pace, I just don't know if that 0-2, he was fast. Is he fast enough to hold off new tires?
I don't know if he is going to be fast enough to hold off. I mean, this is going to be so difficult. Like you know, Don, a lot of laps still left in the race. But now is the true question of who can try to hold off, because all of our leaders now have had some type of issue pop up. I mean, you think of Chad Thornquist, he was really poised to be a driver that everyone had to run down. He's now going to be in a position on the back foot with fresher tires behind him. Joshua Adams just came into pit road just that of 4 laps ago, so he's going to be finding himself just a handful of laps off the pace of the drivers behind. But Burrell, Lytle, and as well Tucker, those 3 drivers, this is going to be a duel between those 3.
Yes, Pro Edge Racing teammates there as well. So there's going to be some respect. But we saw what happened in the real world with Cup Series teammates there. Something could always give. Take a look at some of these drivers throughout the mid-section of the pack. Sam, it's been a great race here so far. I mean, a lot of coverage and coverage here, but with 22 laps to go, probably 21 by the time we go back racing here. Who do you like? Are you keeping an eye, or I know we're keeping an eye on the 19, but is that who we're putting a circle on, or do you think somebody else comes around?
Yeah, no, that is the guy to watch out for at this point. With RC out of this race, it is really only that of David Tooker. If you're looking at practice times, let alone qualifying times, David Tooker was over a second faster than the rest of the field when you don't factor in RC Anderson's pace. It is ridiculous how much faster the 19 is compared to the rest of the field. Then you look at qualifying, it was only 3/10 off of that of RC and Tooker, but to the next closest driver of Chad Frankenfield, it was 6/10 difference. So right now, all eyes are on that of the 19, but he's been set back and been having, handicaps for most since that fun caution that came out. Now things have been tossing and turning. Other drivers, though, that I want to give credit to. Matthew Weeks in 5th position, up the biggest mover of the night, up 30 spots. didn't put down a qualifying time, but the 11 started back in 35th, up to 5th.
Yeah, he's done a well of a job in that 11 car there. Seen some battle scars, though. Left rear quarter panel a little bit crumpled up there. Also saw some damage on the front end, yes, of the 56 car. Don't know who he got into there. Might have been on one of those restarts. We were jumbled up, but up front, it's going to be Chad Thirnquist and Joshua Adams in that 95. Thirnquist, this is going to be his first restart on older tires. The 95 car, he has restarted with about 4-year-old tires from the last restart that we had. So this is going to be not so much of an issue for him. But I wonder with that 02 car, what's it going to be like to fend off these guys?
Also want to give note, we do have that of 28 drivers on the lead lap getting ready on this restart.
The base car about to duck for cover. Putting the field in the hands of the 02. David Tooker back in that 4th row. How many laps does it take for that 19 car to get back up to the front? The 37 car was a big draft and push from the from the 95, and now Ethan Burrell is going to challenge there for the lead as they enter turn 1.
Thought maybe we're going to see the 37 get a little bit more aggressive on the entry of that corner, but through the S's, this is where that extra grip is going to be helping, but it's on cold tires, so Ethan Burrell can't maximize the extra speed, but here onto the backstretch where the draft is, watch out for the 37 going into the bus stop.
Yes, looks like all is well and clear. People have been able to single file themselves out there. No further issue. Now the 37 car trying to apply the pressure. He has got to make short work of that 02 car because behind him are a hungry... Oh, got a car around there on the entrance of the bus stop. And yes, the yellow flag is going to come out because of it.
Chad Frankenfield going to be a driver that's going to be having some issues here. And you're going to be seeing some drivers on top of one another going to be ran over. I believe that's Clark into that of Shane Terrian. Terrian then gets bumped into Chad Frankenfield right at that guardrail, which is the most dangerous place. And then Calamity continues to surge in.
Yes, and that is a hard hit. The second issue, and he gets nailed hard by, I believe, the 64 car of Andrew Rucker.
That it was. Well, Alex, we thought from leaving Pocono, Michigan, we would have a chance to get away from yellows. Nope, it continues on.
Well, I was gonna... Excuse me. I was gonna say, just before this, the fact that we had so many continuous miles of green flag racing, we didn't have that at all at Michigan 1 week ago. So, the fact that we've been able to see some good, clean green flag racing, I think is a breath of fresh air for everybody here as we're only working caution number 5 with 20 laps to go. But Chad Thirnquist is going to have to survive another one because that 37 car was applying all the pressure.
All the pressure certainly was there, and it's now more drivers going to be trickling into pit road with some heavy damage for themselves. Andrew Rucker, after the contact into Chad Frankenfield, actually got required repairs that needs to be coming back into pit road. But Chad Thirnquist is still up front. Ethan Burrell wasn't able to make the pass. As you see there, of Capel getting repairs done. It's been a long day for the 9. Chad Frankenfield, very frustrated, a driver that won the Watkins Glen race. It was all the way back in 2019, the first time that the Elite drivers in the Cup Series raced here at the Glen. But it's just been a long day for that 15 machine. And for Chad Thirnquist, he's got to be loving the fact that we're now having some pace laps under yellow, because those are laps that aren't going to be under green, and he has to worry about the pressure of the 37 and others.
Yeah, the tale of 2 Chads right there. Unfortunately, Chad Frankenfield, who had started 3rd, looked like he was going to have a good day, just has not had the luck on his side. Chad Thirnquist, though, trying to make sure he doesn't end up like that other Chad there, find himself deep in this field. Going to have at least one more lap before we go back to green, so I'm going to take this opportunity to go get some water and not cough on air. So we'll leave you with some sights and pictures real quick of our upcoming broadcast. I will be right back there, Sam. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Ready Break at the Glen here, getting set with 17 laps to go here. Sam, it has been, for lack of a better term, chaotic up front. I think that was the word you described there as we were about to go back on air here. But at the end of the thing, we still have a race here tonight, and we believe the 19th car is going to be in victory lane, but there's still a lot of drivers trying to deny him, including that Infernal racing car up front.
That's who we're thinking is going to get it done. Do want to give a note, Gerald Campbell, Gerald Brexine, Zach Evans, RC Anderson, Kyle Waldgreen, as well as Dustin Doerr and Bronson Stafford are all officially out of this race. We're still left with only 28 drivers on the lead lap.
All right, so that Porsche 911 car, which I love to see. Excellent, not the generic base car we're typically used to, but that car going to save itself as it goes down pit road. That means Ted Turnquist has got to make sure the rest of the field stays behind him. Green flag is back out, 17 laps to go.
A very aggressive braking zone for the 0-2, able to defend again. Want to give note, Chad Thornquist on 6 lap older tires than that of Ethan Burrell, but because of the heating cycle of all these caution laps that have come out, the tires going to be slightly equal with one another in this 1 to 2 lap. But after these next couple of laps, that's when Ethan Burrell, Tate Lytle, and others are going to have the advantage over the 0-2.
Yeah, so that 37 car, big hit on the backstretch there. That is going to trigger, I believe,
no
a yellow flag. No yellow yet, but some competitor just rammed into the outside wall out of the S's there. My goodness.
Oh, this is going to be an earlier incident coming in. You can see drivers were already locking up and having issues going into the corner. This is just going on the front stretch as Harrington goes through the grass and going to be coming across the line. But this was not the explosion of the 29 that brought out the yellow. And Chad
Frankenfield adding insult to injury right there.
Oh, cannot get away. This is the explosion that both Alex, you and I saw.
It's going to be the 29 of Trevor Elam playing an unfortunate role. He gets into the side of Jeff Green, and then the car cuts across the track. And is it the 87 that gets sent as well? The 87, yes, but the 29, yeah, with a hellacious impact there. That reminds me of David Rudman's crash here back in 2011 where that car just tumbled. Meanwhile, back up front, we stay green.
Yeah, the big thing, yes, you know, on iRacing, the guardrail's not supposed to just lock up the car like that, but luckily it did, because that could have been a much bigger wreck of more drivers being collected in, but we stay green. David Tooker's done a great job. He's moved up from 6th up to 4th, and now the race is on. Can he catch up to that of Matthew Weeks? Weeks, again, biggest mover of the night, up 32 positions, but they need to catch up to these two. Chad Thornquist, Ethan Burrell, they're trying to pull away.
Yes, they are there, and 37 of Ethan Burrell doing all he can to make sure he is in the mirror of that 0-2. A little bit of a breakaway, though, between first and second. I would say about 5 car lengths as they head down the backstretch. Just 15 laps to go here. Surprised at the distance that has been lost by the 19 and gained by the 11. But this thing is not over. That 0-2 car looks behind him. He has not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 Pro Edge Racing cars behind him.
And you also got to see a little bit of a sneak peek of Josh Robin, who's just stuck in the wall. He's been trying to get himself unstuck, but it looks like he's going to have to take a tow for the 8 machine. But up front, it is all Thornquist, Burrell, Weeks, and also that of David Tooker. 5th place going to be Tate Lytle, as Lytle under pressure from Tyler Fode. But our top 6, they are still all within about 2.5 seconds of our leader.
Yes. Right now, I believe the 37 car, what's the mindset inside that machine right now there, Sam? You can't get quite to them. Do you just want to, hang with them, try to make sure you hit your marks right there, try to save your tires to make another attack late in this run? Or are you trying to get as much as you can right now because the time's good?
It's full song. You got to put everything on the line. Chad Thornquist, the lap previous to the one that he's about to put down, was the fastest lap of the race with a 1 minute in 12.206. And then this most previous lap, it's Ethan Burrell putting down one of the fastest laps as well. But I take it all back. David Tooker, he's found another gear. He put down the fastest lap of the night with a 111.9.
My goodness, it's not tell you it is go time and answer my question I just asked. These guys are not laying down at all. The 19 car trying to desperately get around that 11 car who's making himself extra wide. Yeah, they're teammates, but right now you've got to make sure you don't lose any positions there. But that 19 car trying to force that 11 into a mistake. He might do so as the 11 car goes wide, perhaps just giving that 19 car the position and a chance to run down these leaders.
Weeks tried to do a crossover move, was not able to get back into the throttle soon enough, and David Tooker now able to get away, and now he's going to have a little bit of clean air to work with, try to put down maybe even a faster lap for the 19. But now I'm concerned for these tires. They're putting these fast laps down, yes, when it's 15, 16 laps to go, but that's still a lot of racing. Each lap, 2.45 miles in length. And each corner, you can be scrubbing off more and more grip, and you can be finding yourself those final 5 laps struggling to put down any type of speed.
Yes, and we did see that come to fruition there late before we got the fun caution for that 19 car specifically. So tire wear management is not out the window just yet. We still have 13 long, grueling laps where you're going to need rubber to meet the road here.
That last lap, top 3 all put down a 1:12 minute time, which is blistering speed. That was around the fastest laps for a lot of these drivers for most of the race, but also what's helping with this factor, the track has cooled off about 2 degrees, and as well, it's just these drivers were able to cool off on those, pace laps that they were having, able to save these tires, and now it is all full song as Ethan Burrell, Chad Thornquist, I think you got to give big kudos to the 0-2. Again, he is running with 6 lap older tires than the drivers behind him.
Yeah, and I went on record to say I thought he was kind of in trouble there, Sam. Remember when that yellow flag came out, I thought for sure he would have had to pit just because of what we saw with the tires, but you're absolutely correct. He has been able to keep these guys at bay with 6 lap older tires there. Now, the question remains, does Clean Air have anything to deal with that? Because if that 37 car gets around them, will that then dirty up the air and start making that 0-2 lose the handling? But right now, we're just not seeing that from Third Quest.
Oh, I would imagine for sure. Dirty air is something that's holding back Ethan Burrell through the S's and also through some of these corners. But the big thing for that of Thornquist, he's finding the exit speed way better than that of Ethan Burrell. That's where he's been able to take off. As you saw there out of the bus stop, 0-2, just able to find a much cleaner run, not hitting the bumps and the rumble strips as much and getting that car unsettled. Just a clean straight line into the carousel, and once again out of the carousel, just trying to pull away at any margin is Chad Thornquist, because he knows on the move is David Tooker.
Yes, but Tooker's actually, he's plateaued just a little bit, hasn't really gained a lot. Not as much as what we've come to expect out of the 19 car, and as I mentioned, it's going to get harder for him as he gets closer and climbs up higher inside the top 5. Still about 1.9 seconds behind the 0-2 car. There is a gap growing between first and second place, so Ethan's starting to lose touch a little bit with that 0-2.
You also can see that of Tate Lytle running very similar lap times to David Tooker. They're very close and similar, bouncing back and forth on their times and working together to try to run down our front 2 that are recognizing it's go time. They've got to take off, but here is the major difference. Ethan Burrell compared to David Tooker, it's been anywhere from that of 3/10, 2/10. That lap 48, there was a gain, and that was when Tooker got a little bit sideways, found himself scrubbing off time. That's going to be the big thing. It's all about finding your true rhythm. David Tooker, he's found it these last 2 laps.
Yes, he has, and now has 10 laps to work with to try and run down his teammate and a foe at the head of the pack. The 0-2 car there, Thornquist was able to take control of this race because of a yellow flag after he was able to pit first out of all the competitors that had to eventually go down pit road. He inherited that track position. He has not yet given it up, but 10 laps to go. Will that be the race-winning strategy call to have pit early before these guys? I like that call when it happened there before the green flag. I'm still going to go on record and say I like it right now.
Now, Alex, a factor that we noted on coming to the end of the, coming up to, I should say, to the fun caution was lap traffic being almost a factor where our leaders almost saw their day be wiped out by a car wrecking in front of them. there's going to be a lot of lap traffic that's going to be trickling in. They're pretty spaced out from one another, but that is going to be a factor coming up here for our leaders here in the next 2 to 3 laps.
Oh my goodness, lap traffic, a battle for the lead, and we're turning right. What more can we throw at these race car drivers right here tonight? It has been a fun one here, folks. There, as you take a look at some of the glorious shots here from upstate New York, Watkins Glen, always an honor to race here virtually in the real world anywhere, but you see that 02 car there get around the lap machine of Scott Haney. We'll see what happens here as everybody tries to go around.
Yeah, that's the extra runoff that was added with this new scan. They were able to go running off of that turn 6 as into pit road, going to be seeing that of Cody Henningsen, and Harrington's going to be slowing down Thornquist. Thornquist was not happy with the way that action had happened. The next driver on line going to be that of Mark Keeler, who's going through the S's. Battle for seconds on. There goes Tooker in an instant.
Yes, the 37 had a big wobble on the exit of turn 1. The 19 car expertly was able to navigate lap traffic, and now the run to the front continues, battling back from lap 15. Now with 9 laps to go, David Tooker has one more position to gain.
Take a look at some of the drivers further back, and I gotta say, we watched this pass that was just made. That wobble you noted on the rumble strips. Yeah, if you get stuck in having the rumble strips in between the car, it just unsettles it so much. Tooker gets off, he gets going, and into second immediately.
Yes, but that did increase the gap between first and second. That 19 car is going to have to run down the 02. He has the time, he has the pace, he has the tires. Can that 19 car get around the 02? It's not going to be easy.
Yeah, I mean, you can see Tooker last lap, because of the lap traffic, able to really gain on our leader, but this lap going to be a tell sign how much ground truly needs to be made up. It was only a 10th. But the difference, a half a second, only about, you could say, 2 to 3 car lengths now, Alex, between our front 2.
Yes, they travel up through the S's here, and I guarantee that 02 car trying to make sure any lap traffic he might encounter is definitely not in the line he needs, because that's what he lost. That's where he lost a lot of time on the exit of turn 7 right there. You're on board with the 19 of David Tooker as they once again navigate some more lap traffic ahead. One car out of the groove, and it's the 02. He's into the inside barrier in front of these guys, trying to get out of the way, placing him right in harm's way.
Gets out of the way and completely locks up that 08. Mark Keeler, yes, he made a mistake going through the bus stop, but a class act lap driver move, locking it up, letting the leaders race on. And now Chad Thornquist is going to be having to hold on with David Tooker. And the next lap car really that's going to be in mind, going to be that of Harrison Talon. But that gap is out of that of about 8 seconds. It should not be a factor for at least another 2 laps. But the gap difference, how much time was gained? 3/10 looks to be the major difference between our front 2.
Oh yeah, I mean, that knock you hear is David Tooker. He is there right now. That 02 car has a mirror full of David Tooker right behind him, but he's been able to keep calm, cool, and collected, not allowing that 19 car really to get closer than what we've seen than right now. But man, it's getting antsy up front here, Sam.
Up front, the battling is on. 7 laps to go into the bus stop. Tooker's going to peak for one moment, but it's going to be the exit. Both not having the best run through the center of the bus stop, but it's going to be David Tooker with the best launch out, going through the carousel. The 19, ducking it low, trying to get the bumper right to the quarter panel, but not able to. Thornquist still able to defend.
Yeah, not the prettiest of laps there through the carousel and the bus stop. The 02 there did not navigate those set of corners there at all well. Gave up all that position to the 19. The gap now just 1 car length between these guys. At the stripe, next time out, it'll be 6 laps to go. The 19 applying the pressure. It's almost unbearable on the 02 car, but he's keeping it calm, cool, and collected. 6 laps to go as they go down the front stretch.
Thornquist is starting to feel that wear and tear. He's just a little bit higher in the apex of the corners, maybe exiting a little bit further, using more runoff each and every lap, and that's just going to gain more and more each lap. It could be very costly in the end of the day. 6 laps to go, and honestly, the 02 only looks like he can defend for maybe another 3 to 4 laps at most.
He's got to give it his all there. That 02 car has got to keep the 19 at bay. but you have to wonder, where will the 19 decide to make his move? He is there, hoping, praying that that 02 car just makes a mistake.
The more that Thornquist holds off David Tooker, the closer third and fourth place of Ethan Burrell and Tate Lytle also get in the mix here.
Yes, you're right. Tate Lytle coming to life as well. They've left their partner Matthew Weeks into the 5th place position. He's actually lost a spot to Tyler Fody in that 40 car there. But the battle continues to remain up front. The 02 now has stretched it out to just a 1 car length lead in front of David Tooker. And at the stripe, 5 laps to go. That's going to be 5 fingers in the virtual hand of Barry there as they flash across the stripe.
Hands out, but you saw there a little bit of a loss, some wiggling out of the turn 6 and 7 that cost the majority of the time there for David Tooker. But again, lap traffic was not a factor for these last couple of laps, but there is a cluster of 3 drivers at the top of the S's. That means they're going to be there in about a lap to 2 laps. And then we're going to see if Thornquist and Tooker, if they can get through lap traffic cleanly, and who's going to survive.
Yes. And let's also talk about the fact that if a yellow flag does come out, what do you do here as we take a look from the blimp? And Ivy, we saw the 19 really sail it in there into the bus stop. The 02, though, look at the lane he's running through the carousel. Just a little bit higher. They're really getting the power back down and able to maintain that gap he has in front of the 19. But the 19 has a run. Now he has to block a defensive line by the 02 corner. What will happen as they go into turn number 6? The 19
Those
was
old
definitely
tires,
there.
they're kicking in. The rear tires are so hot and lit up. They're going to be side by side once again through the corner, but Thornquist is going to just throw the body of that car around to defend at this point, because those rear tires, every time he gets back into the throttle, the rear end just wants to wiggle and get loose, which is costing time, speed off the exit. This is going to be the lap to watch out. David Tooker's going to have his best opportunity here to make the pass on Thornquist.
I would imagine this virtual crowd is going wild bananas for what they are seeing here. 2 of the very best all night long. David Tooker desperately trying to finally place a win in the column here for Watkins Glen. He's been so close so many times at so many other road courses here. Now in a next-gen car, can Tooker rise to the top? He had to look to the inside there, the 02, but the 02 shuts him off right there. What's going to happen as they enter the carousel?
It's the exit of the carousel. This is where Chad Thornquist had his weakest moment, got onto the rumble strips, wiggled, and gave an opening. Here they come out of turn number 5, onto the rumble strips, and the 02 gets a better launch. Great protection for this moment, but it's lap traffic that is going to be the big issue. Big block. Tooker might give a bump into turn number 6.
Yes, you saw the 19 trying to apply the crossover. They both go across the rumble strip, searching for grip. This is a battle between 2 of the very best of the Elite Racing League. My goodness, we have not had a chance to catch our breath every lap. Lap traffic up ahead with 3 to go. Can the 19 capitalize on this?
And they are now going to be seen
Here
to the
he is.
inside. Tooker going for an opportunity through the S's. His best chance. They're both going to be side by side, but Thornquist defense coming to the top of the hill.
Yes, was unable to make sure to keep it side by side through the S's right there. And I'm telling you, Thornquist doing all he can on 6-lap older tires there. This man is Superman. What's he going to be able to do here? Less than 5 miles to the checker flag and lap traffic once again.
There's 4 lap cars that are directly in front of our leaders and going to the high line, getting out of the way, very clean pass. But there's still a lot more traffic to be worrying about. And going low and going slow out of the way, gonna be that of host Zach, who just recognized the situation. Now there's only 2 more lap cars for our leaders to handle.
I am in awe of what I'm seeing here, Sam. Just great racing here. Oh! Thornquist! He's in the grass! He almost gets into the wall right there, but the 19 trying to capitalize. This time he will. Right now, side by side as they flash across the stripe, they are going to go battle head-to-head into turn number 1. David Tooker with the advantage.
Crossover move!
David Tooker surviving the bump after a mistake by the 02, entering turn number 7, and now the 19 has been able to re-clinch the spot he lost back on lap 15. Can he hang on for another lap?
And just like that, 2 laps to go, pass for the lead. Tate Lytle waited for the opening, and now he just needs to carve his way through lap traffic. If he can do that cleanly, it's going to be great for Thornquist, but this is what's keeping Thornquist in the battle. He's still right on the back bumper through the S's.
Yes, they're able to get around the wounded machine of that 87 car. It is not over for that 02. What happened to Thornquist could easily happen to the... Oh, no! Thornquist, big mistake, and he's into the arm car barrier.
Absolutely throwing away a second-place finish. Now back to 4th. Thornquist, the only driver that opportunity on the out of David Tooker, is out of the picture. It's all the 19 coming through turn number 7.
White flag going to be in the win here. 1 lap to go for the 19 of David Tooker. He started on the pole, but my goodness, this race has not been that way. He had a mistake, some type of glitch by iRacing that put him deep in this field after the one and only scheduled race caution has been able to work and navigate through all the calamity back up to the top spot with 2 laps remaining. And now, Sam, he's on the backstretch for the final time with nobody in his rear view mirror.
The next closest driver is going to be Ethan Burrell, but Burrell's got a handful because Tate Lytle's on his back bumper. As they go into the bus stop, it's all David Tooker feeling comfortable and confident. He went from running as hard as possible, now he can just wait and relax, and what a run for the 19.
Through the carousel for the final time, just has to navigate 2 final sets of corners. Pro Edge Racing dominating here tonight with a 1-2-3 finish. Ethan Burrell and Tate Lytle 2nd and 3rd, but it's going to be David Tooker, the pole setter, a final corner for the 19, and he's finally going to get that long-awaited checkered flag on a road course he has wanted forever. The 19 getting it done in the ready break at the Glen 200. Welcome, David Tooker, to a chance for a championship for 2022.
Just like how he did it 2 years ago in the 2020 season, got the pole and gets the win. Congratulations to David Tooker. Chad Thornquist is going to be coming away with 4th place, and that's just going to be a hard pill to swallow for the 02, who had a 2nd place finish for himself. But luckily, Thornquist, 3rd in points coming in tonight. It's still a good day compared to some of the other drivers that are around him.
How about this race team? I don't know very much any other organization that gets it done much better than Pro Edge Racing, as we see Thornquist there go across the stripe. I believe this is
the battle for the lead.
Checkers.
Yeah, this is the pass. That
pass for the lead. Oh, excuse me. Yes.
Just
yeah,
inside.
This was a great run there, but it actually, the mistake that happened was just before that.
Well, you saw, I mean, you could see and just mentally what Thornquist wanted to do there. He knew he needed to break later. This 19 already had the run, was going to be a nose ahead, and just wasn't there. But yeah, here's the mistake you were talking about, Alex. Got into the grass, gave the opening for David Tooker, and then it was just a try your best going down into turn number 1.
Yeah, and I mean, those older tires, they worked so well for so long. He just needed about 2 more laps. This is going to be a very popular win for the 19.
Man, you come to road courses, you always have to put David Tooker on your list of drivers to watch out for. And he proved it here tonight. Why he is someone that could get it done as the 19 burns it down.
I mean, it didn't matter what you threw at him here tonight. Wrecking lap cars, an iRacing glitch. He was able to overcome it all. And we'll be chatting with him in just a couple of moments. So glad you're able to now enjoy the post-race show here at a reasonable hour here, 10:13. Not too bad on the East Coast here. That was not the case last week. I think we're still working lap 15 with, I don't know, 30 to go.
It was taking a while. It was a long one.
But definitely a great night as we see the 19 car trying to burn it down. Didn't really make a mistake at all, with the exception of whatever happened on pit road. That 19 car was flawless.
It was absolutely incredible to watch as Tooker is going to be heading his way in. We're starting to get some drivers filing in and getting ready for interviews, and I believe we do have 2nd and 3rd at the weight.
Yes, so let's all go ahead and bring in our defending series champion. Man, that has a nice ring to it. I like to say it every time you join. One of the first times here this season, Tate Lytle, you walk away with a third place finish here. That's got to feel good at a road course.
Does feel good. Third straight top 5 in this series on the road course. Actually, I think third straight podium on the road courses. And yeah, there for a little bit, I thought I was going to have a chance at the win. I felt like I had Ethan on the long run pace. And Tucker was still faster, but with where he was in traffic, I was like, well, maybe there's a way I can keep that distance between us. But hats off to Tucker. I mean, that guy's obviously a beast on these road courses. So yeah, I mean, it's hard to be too disappointed with a third place. I don't know what happened to Thornquist there, but he was really fast too. It was just an interesting race. I'm just glad that I was able to make the race. I didn't get into the lobby until about 15 minutes beforehand and hadn't turned a lap yet. So I was like, well, I'm glad we have a fun flag because that's just gonna be practice time because it's been a pretty hectic week. So, but I think this should put us into a chase spot or a playoff spot, which after the way last week went, it didn't go quite as planned. I think we were a couple points out heading into this week. But sorry to Chad for getting into him. I didn't mean to do that, obviously, but I guess it's fair after what happened last week. He cleaned me and Tucker out, so we got into him. Unfortunately, I don't know what lap that was, but obviously it wasn't intentional, and I know he's a little upset, but I'm sure he'll be over it by next Wednesday. But yeah, shout out to Pro Edge Racing. Days gone by, Brent Wentz. Really cool vintage racing apparel on there. He's got an Etsy store. Check out his Instagram and Twitter. And then obviously shout out to Ethan Tucker, a little Pro Edge sweep at the podium on a road course. Good bounce back after I think we had one car on the top 15 last week. So good bounce back. And I think Weeks was 7th and Clark was 10th. So we had 5 in the top 10 and the sweep of the podium. So great day for Pro Edge Racing, that's for sure.
Definitely, Tate. I saw Sam leave there. I was gonna ask to see him, but yeah, you took all the words and even the questions. You've been able to thank everybody out of my mouth. There, it's good to see you on the up and up there. And I know I'll ask you one more question. I mean, we're almost halfway into the regular season here. The time to start thinking about points is now. We did notice you were, I think, 20th in there. Is there cause for concern, or do you feel like you'll be able to right the ship here, especially right now?
How many races in are we? I think I felt like this was like 3,
4. So we have
4?
we'll be halfway next week.
Okay, so we're 4 of 10 in the regular season. Yeah, I mean, I don't really think it's cause for concern. I feel like as long as we just keep doing what we're doing and put ourselves in a decent spot, it's not going to be any reason for concern. Hopefully at some point we can get ourselves a win, but not too worried about that. The wins will come if you keep running up front. And I mean, not that we definitely didn't have the winning car tonight, but we had a chance to win, and that's all you can really ask for coming to these road courses when you got guys like R.C. Enerson and David Tucker in the field. So, but yeah, cool to see a sweep of the podium by the Toyotas, and hopefully I'll be back talking to you guys next week.
All right, that's Tate Lytle there, finishing 3rd here tonight, doing a great job, part of that Pro Edge Racing sweep he was just mentioning about there. Want to go ahead and bring in the driver and owner of Pro Edge Racing there, that 37 car there, finishing 2nd here tonight. Ethan, a lot to be proud of. Walk us through your night.
Yeah, how about that? A great run by the team. First of all, I just want to shout all those guys out. Tucker with the win, myself, Tate with the podium, and then Matthew Weeks. I mean, he started 35th, ended up 7th, and then Josh Clark picked up a top 10 as well because of strategy he pulled at that stage caution. So awesome day as a team owner and teammate, just overall. But yeah, it was good. I actually had really good speed coming into practice and qualifying. I was just kind of sticking right there in the top 5 most of the day. I didn't put myself off cycle with any strategies because I was already in good track position, but I was getting away clean on every restart. There was a couple close calls around me, but I stayed out of trouble, kept the car in one piece, and I felt like I had a good shot at it there that last restart with Thornquist on the older tires, but I just couldn't get to him, man. He was driving his guts out, and I ended up over driving it, and then I saw David Tooker getting closer and closer, and one little bobble by me, and he got by me in a hurry. So shout out to him, and Thornquist had a really good run, and yeah, man, it was just a really good day.
It looked like it was at times very, very much fun for you guys all there, having a great run there. But I do want to talk about a little bit about the tires there. Before that caution flag came out, kind of mid-race, you and Tate Lytle were fighting for the lead. When were you guys planning on pitting? Were you guys concerned at all for that 02 car who had decided to undercut?
Yeah, we definitely took note of him pitting. I felt like it was oddly early in the run for him to pit like that. I guess maybe he was just planning to kind of jump out way ahead of us by the time we finally pitted. You know, he'd have a good lead, but I wasn't too set on when I was thinking about pitting. It probably would have been right around the midway point in the run. I know I usually at the oval tracks I'll try to overcut the first run and then have a shorter run at the end, but I noticed at these road courses you don't want to let those guys get too far out there, so somewhere around halfway probably would have been the call. But either way, I mean, it was just eyes forward trying to hold Tate off on that run, and he did a good job getting up to me there.
Oh, definitely fun. This is the race here. I believe it's going to be an instant classic for the Elite Racing Network. It was fun to call and see you up front having a good day. Want to give you a chance to shout out anyone you'd like there, especially as team owner.
Yeah, shout out all the guys. Shout out 213 Simware, sorry. 213 Simware. He's going to be coming on board with me in the Xfinity series here soon. JD Designs for making these paint schemes for the Pro Edge Camrys and Supras, and shout out to my grandma and Betty who are watching. My fiance Rachel stuck it out today, couch surfing back there. Just you guys for the broadcast and putting this thing together.
All right, always a pleasure to get my man E-Dog in the booth there. So happy to see you there with the second place there.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, Alex.
All right, guys, you waited long enough. We are about to bring in tonight's winner there, David Tooker. You know, last week you joined us in the booth. We talked about your chance of getting to victory lane. I think a little bit there. I think you were cautiously optimistic here, but tonight there was nothing to be cautiously optimistic about. You were flying. Walk us through your entire night, including that glitch that happened after the fun caution that didn't make things quite so fun for you.
Yeah, it was a fun night. Started on pole next to RC, who honestly I was really scared about. You know, you kind of expect a guy who does road racing as his job in real life. You expect the best of the best, and you know, we were there battling in the first 15 laps of the race going to the stage. He was right there with me. I knew he was keeping me honest, and couldn't get my hopes up quite yet. And going into pit road, actually ended up speeding. I think
That's what I thought. I thought it was bad. Sorry.
I sped. Rookie mistake. I sped going in pit road. I tried backing it up, but RC was just so close to me. I couldn't really do anything about it. So I knew I just had to get to my box and, you know, reset. You can't let something like that get in your head. So, you know, coming through the field, I knew I just had to be careful with some guys. You know, obviously those guys don't really have quite the pace that I had. So I just had to be very careful, very precision-like, and just make smart passes, be patient. I knew I had laps to do it. You know, getting through the field was really fun. A lot of respect out there with those guys. Appreciate everyone giving me room coming up through the field. I know everybody's out here doing their own race, but they didn't have to do that for me, but they did. So I appreciate all you guys watching, all the elite drivers. Appreciate it. But you know, ended up getting to second right behind Thornquist, and unfortunately he made a few mistakes, and it just happens. You know, the pressure's there. Arguably one of our better road course drivers right behind him. I've been in that situation before many times. The pressure gets to you sometimes, and he just made a mistake. And luckily we were able to grab the win.
Yeah, and I mean, after so long, I've called many races here on road courses where it just seemed like any little issue that could happen that could derail your chance did, and it looked like that same story was about to play out, but you were just not going to be stopped here. You mentioned most of the field being able to get by, but let's not forget about the pace that was inside that 19 car. I want to talk to you though about that battle of CO2 before the mistakes there, because it looked like you guys were going toe to toe, head to head.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I knew Thornquist had speed for sure. He qualified in the top 5. I once we came down to get that one of our last sets of tires that we used, ran a few laps and the caution came out, which really set us back quite a bit. I think what it did is with the tires going through a heat cycle like that and then coming back down and then going green again, it kind of just reset the tires and we were on even playing grounds. But like you said, just a really clean battle with Thornquist. Couldn't ask for a better race like that. He raced me super clean. Gave me plenty of room. I knew I just had to get to him, and if I could get to him, I could possibly set him up for a corner. But I definitely felt like the pace was there. I honestly was scared I wasn't going to get there. I was thinking, okay, maybe I'll catch him by like lap 53, 54, and then it got to lap 59, 60, and I was like, oh, I need to get the move on. I need to get going. And unfortunately, like I said, just made a mistake in turn 7, and that happens a lot. Get loose out of 6 and trying to line up 7, you're either too far to left and you touch the grass, which I think he did. And luckily he caught it, but just a drag race to start finish line. You got the inside line for turn 1, and that was pretty much all she wrote.
All she wrote had you in victory lane there. Want to give you the chance to shout out anyone and everything, and also congratulate you on not only the win, but a 1-2-3 finish there for Pro Edge.
I mean, yeah, Alex, you said it. Pro Edge Racing, what a night tonight. Securing the win, then getting the top 3 podiums. I think Matthew Weeks ended up 7th, so 4 cars in the top 10. Actually, all 5 of us in the top 10. Josh Clark got 10th. Shout out to him. But just a really great night. We put in a lot of work for this race. Trying to make sure we can get the most out of we can these road course races, because most guys they'll look at this and they'll say, oh, this is just a week to survive. But versus us, we're like, we got to get as many points as we can, because you never know what you're going to need at the end of the season. And like I said, just a huge shout out to the Pro Edge Racing team, all our fans watching, everybody watching at home, and also want to thank you for what you do up in the booth for us. You're a great commentator. We've been friends for so many years, and to see you up here in the booth commentating our races, couldn't ask for a better guy to do it. So thank you for what you do up here.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure there, Tooker. And as I was saying there earlier, I know we have been friends for like years, but it just amazes me what you do, not only virtually, but in real life. So great to see you. And congratulations. Hope this sets you up for success. You're in the playoffs. I know it's not a win and you're in, but you've set yourself up pretty nicely here as we get the regular season underway.
Thank you, buddy.
Well, I want to give a shout out to my co-anchor right there, Sam, as well. He was there tonight. I know he had probably hurry off. I think he does another race that he calls.
He had an internet issue. He had to dive out with.
Oh, he had an internet issue. That race, or that voice you hear, is David as well. Want to give. Wait, are you heard on the broadcast?
Yes,
or
that
not?
was heard.
Okay, yeah, there you go. So David, who's been able to give us some very nice graphics this week here. I like this package.
Thanks.
This package is really, really, really nice. So, but I believe we had, if not the best race of the season here so far. It was just so good to see these guys. I'm a big fan of road course racing. I think it's one of the best forms of racing. I know a lot of people think there are some fans that don't like road course racing as far as NASCAR. And I'm just like, how do you not? These guys are handling these stock cars, these heavy stock cars, and doing amazing things, turning right and left. So the setup, the drive, everything about road course racing is just fun. You're taking a look at the top 20 results. Again, Pro Edge Racing thinks it's pretty well documented. 3 finishing in the top 3 there. Chad, I did see him in the waiting room. I wanted to get him in there, but unfortunately it looks like he had to leave. Chad Thornquist there in the 4th. Hunter Smith for Little Eagle Racing there, doing an excellent job inside the top 5 there. So that's great to see him in that 14 machine. Tate Lytle, Matthew Weeks, Joshua Adams, able to have a great day. How about Shane? He was the highest of the Sky Motorsports guys. He had a great job in 9th, and then Joshua Clark rounding out your top 10. Just outside of that, Johnny Thomas, 91. Nick Matsey coming back from that earlier spin issue with RC Anderson there to finish 12th. Tom Bourne there, also another Sky Motorsports car before we get to Vincent Isabella. Jacob Adams, Jesse Rasmus, Mark Rilbellis, Alex Belvins, Dallas Myhan, and Chad Friggentfield, your top 20. Just beyond that, we see the rest of the finishing order there. I'm about to not have a voice, though, so I'm going to be calling it a night. That you guys can definitely read and pause it back on your YouTube here. But before I leave, I do want to give a shout out to all of our, once again, season partners there, C2 Freight there, JoinAPS.com, Rowdy Break, who was the sponsor of tonight's race here tonight at the Glen, and then Blue Wave Marketing as well. Can't put on a production without these guys. I know they helped Chad Friggentfield put on a great talent project that doesn't just stop on Wednesday nights, but throughout the entire week. You saw the upcoming broadcast here for all these guys. They're in multiple series, so definitely keep an eye out for those guys on the Elite Racing Network. But for myself there and David, doing a great job on the graphics producing, I want to give everybody congratulations here, including David Tooker in that 19 car. And we will see you next week at 8:30. I was unable to see what the next race was, but I'm looking forward to it. So we'll see you guys next week, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. So long.